received my call to military service, the draft call. And I almost immediately applied a written letter to the board to give me a deferment in order that I might get my compete in one more month, my 4 years, and get my diploma and have that in my credit. And the delay was granted, no problem. And sometime in the latter part of June, I was actually called up. And the first station was Fort Devens. And I was in Fort Devens for just 3 weeks. Now let me interject a little bit. And at that time, there was called the Connecticut State College, and the requirements was military training for the freshman and sophomore years. So I had this complete training, which got me started running, and I was immediately put to work on command to be responsible for officers as we were herded up to our troopship, and then to play mother and father to my Nazi basic. I had a corporal designation at that time. And it was, believe it or not, 59 days in a Liberty ship, which was a cargo ship, between New York, the embarkation in New York to where the hell was the name now? Australia. I'll leave it at that. But I can fill all the cities in. And we were bivouac. We were there totally of 7 days in the city stair of Melbourne, and we were there assigned to battalions, and
I want to get straight what happened. You went to Fort Devens. You were there for 3 weeks, and then you went on a Liberty ship, and you went to Australia. Okay,
yep.
Go ahead. You were in Melbourne.
7 days in Australia, and from Australia, the Japanese were in the Solomon Islands. Now, the next island below the last of the chain was New Caledonia, owned by the French. And that was where I and a small group were sent to, because we had a small it's not a battalion, it was a small outfit on the island, and in the company of helping uh, French who were friendly. And then we had very, very little equipment. My personal equipment was one piece of my mess gear, and that's all. And not even a canteen. And we were supposedly outfitted before being shipped up to where these action. And as best as the military could get stuff to us, we were partially outfitted and moved up to where there was action, right below where the lowest Solomon Island. And we learned what warship was in the heat in the Solomons. And we had a big problem in our face immediately. Our officers were being picked off. Not the enlisted men. They were picking off our officers.
Shooting them.
Huh?
Shooting them.
Yeah. Well, what it turned out to be was the Japanese were climbing palm trees. They'd swath the big palm fronds around themselves and just wait for an officer to come along with his insignia, and when the sun would glance off the car, the insignia, would get a bullet. And in the meantime, I had to do training duty because I had already had it for, I think I had close to 30, marching and how to fire a rifle, how to take it down, put it back. A 45 pistol, which was good for nothing. I couldn't fire them. It had so much kick that if I aimed it at you, the bullet went straight up. And so anyway, from there, because of my training and because I was a college graduate, I was assigned to a medical office. Now, my first station was the MASH hospital. Now, you know what a MASH hospital is. And if you ever saw the movie, that was actual. That was real true. And it was a very experience and terrific training for me. And and there I had specific assignments, and in very short time I had a gold leaf, second lieutenant. And I was a little peanut, but I had the ability for people to respect me and to do what I wanted them to in the Army. And I guess the Army recognized that because put me into quartermaster because we had nothing. We didn't even get alcohol to sterilize the equipment for the surgeons. And we knew that where we were, there were tribes inland on the island who were not unfriendly to us. And I took this on myself. I got them to assign me a Dodge. I can't find the truck. It's like a semi-truck. And I took one man with me. And we started through the trail. We could see the track where they had been. And we could work our way through that Dodge. And before we got to the encampment itself, all of a sudden, 6 black natives with just, again, nothing for clothing, and spears, on about 6 foot long spears. And they came up like as you were covered out of the ground, and they all surrounded us. And I said to my guys, sit tight, take it easy, don't do anything crazy, because we can't win. We gotta work our way through it. So we tried to say to them, to talk to them, did they speak any English at all? And one had some pidgin English, and we got so that with my French and his pidgin English, we got to where he knew what we wanted. So I told him we were friendly, we were not going to run or anything like that, but we would need their help very much. And we would appreciate everything we could, and we would pay them whatever they needed in turn. And I would get it for them. And I didn't know how or what, but I said it. And I said, as a matter of fact, one of you may sit in the back seat with your spear, if you will. Confidence. And so we got into the compound. Compound was maybe a quarter of an acre, and Naoli, the roof tents, but both sides, about 100 feet wide, and then grass center right down to a big tent on the end, assumed to be the chief. Well, we crept down. I kept saying to this young, tell me when to stop. And we got down real close, and he said, stop. So I stopped. And I waited. I told my guys, sit tight, don't do anything stupid. And I said, wait for them to tell us what they want. Our time will come. So it didn't take long. A giant of a man came out, and he had partial clothing, and he spoke French. Now, I spoke French enough to understand, and it's one of my languages in college. And he invited us in. Well, I'll be darned. It was like a house. Big, and this big navally hut. And furniture, tablecloths, and I looked at this and I said, Chief, and what the hell was his name? Remember his name? No, he old Davy. Yeah, so all right. She made tea and biscuits, and we sat down, and I said, Chief, we are here on a mission, and you can help, and we can make it worth your while. And I said, tell me what you need most for your people, and I will get it. If I steal it, I will get it. And I need you. I said, we are short of food. We have no fruits whatsoever. And anything of garden stuff that you can spare, we will trade with you item for item. And it worked. He looked right then and there. He had the guys running, and they had pumpkins and tomatoes and loaded the truck right up. And and then I took his order of what he felt lost, and some of it was beyond my ability to get. So I said, give me time. I will get it. So he said, well, we got back to camp. The colonel came down to see what we did, and we told him our story. And he said, I'm going to write you a letter of commendation. And he did. And that was the first of many I got. Because I was well, you know, to put it in a word, I was stupid. I would do anything. I would take chances. And, you know, 20 years old. And so I said, I got to live up to this stuff. The Navy is close to us. I said, I got to make friends with somebody in the Navy. They have everything. And I did. I made good friends with the white cap officer, and I traded things with them, and I would transfer them to Chief Manoli, and it worked pretty darn good. And of course, I had something that the Navy was crying for.
What was that?
Alcohol. Now, we were getting one of the right things. They would ship me 55-gallon jugs of barrels of denatured alcohol, which you could drink. And that it was supposed to be strictly for medicinal use. Well, and I had to account for it. But you know, it's heat and sun, so every barrel had evaporation. So we used that evaporation to good use. And so I made my myself known pretty well in New Caledonia to the higher-ups. They were getting all this. And so, in about 6 months or so, I was transferred to a MASH hospital. Well, when I got to the MASH hospital, that was a different story. That was all American.
This was still on New Caledonia? You were still on New Caledonia?
No, we were transferred to, I forgot the name of it. It was the land, like a peninsula, that got to the that got to somewhere close to China, and it was attached, but it was like a waterway between, and but we had barricaded ourselves from the Japanese at that point, and still we had to make use of the land because it was strategic. And we had by that time we were building airports. We had our own air power, and we actually had a delegation of nurses, and that sparked my boys like nobody's business. to see an American girl in the jungle. Well, they really were treated like queens. They were, and we established an officers' men's clubhouse, and of course the nurses would be all invited, and so there was always some trumpeter that knew how to play, and so there was a little bit of relaxation. And and now, where did we go from there? Yeah. The next stage, I was on the MASH hospital. Next, because they knew that I had started from scratch and built them, that I could do it. And so we were getting casualties from all the islands where there was no head-to-head, and we needed bigger quarters. So the engineers built us a 1,000-bed hospital. 1,000 beds. And believe me, I hate to say it, it was full. The helicopters were a steady stream bringing them in. All but a shot up, hurt, and of course there we had real nurses, no kidding around, and everybody did their job. And we had teams of surgeons, and now they dump this on me. We have about 750 cadre, plus 1,000 patients that have to be fed, watered, and taken care of for the needs of life. Well, they're going to get all this stuff in the jungle. The Navy. I built up a real nice relationship with the Navy, especially the upper crust, and what I had to use, that they could refuse me anything. You know, I take one, I said, look, you don't have to do this, because you know what they're going to expect every one time. But it's for your country. And I said, I really mean it. I hate to do it. Now, if you don't want to do it, just tell me. Nobody will ever know. And some of them did, some of them didn't. And everybody did their job. And those that did, to my knowledge, never got hurt. But they came off with being very treated well, very well. And now, at that point in my life, came VJ.
Came what?
War's over. Victory in Japan. War was over. And we couldn't come right straight home, but we had too much stuff. Thousands of sick people and complete medical hospitals, whatnot. It had to be done in an airplane full at a time. Okay, war's over, and the best we had was the DC-3s, close to 50 seats, and squeezing them up. And we started to send out back home to the States people that were least noted, mandatory, needed. You couldn't send an engineer out. You couldn't send DAC people that needed, that could do things. And so it was not an immediate evacuation, but we had to bring them down, get if you could, the for wounded that were able to be moved and get to another hospital in, say, 2-3 days. So we were, every plane that we got, we filled it as much as we spun until came to our turn. And yeah, our turn. I made my flight. Well, I think we dropped down on every island between Japan and the West Coast, and we had to come down 5 times from Sacramento, California, to our airport. And we could only get 350, 400 miles out of the chug-chugs. And so that's all right. Let's put it there. We're home. Now home, I was born and raised on a farm in Holland by immigrant parents. And when I got home, I really had, I really was trained in medical, not doctor, but there's a word for it.
Like a medical technician?
Yeah, a medical technician. And so I came home with that I could get the train and move into it. Well, my sister, I had three sisters, made me a welcome home party shortly after I came home. And her mother worked for, my sister had a thrift shop, and her mother worked for my sister. So when comes the night for the welcome home, she said to Betty, Betty, bring your daughter. Bring your daughter. Meet my son. He'll love Phyllis. All right. He loved Phyllis. From that day to today, there has been only for Phyllis. Oh,
Where did you work after the war? Where did you work after the war?
from where?
Where did you work?
Oh, right after?
Yeah.
I hadn't finished anything in college, so I was bouncing around. I worked for Uncle Sam for a while, and it turned out to be, at that time, farmers had to be subsidized, and they were given subsidy according to the acreage that they had. And some official had to survey the farms, determine the acreage, and testify to the crop so that Governor Washington could issue them a check. I got into that accidentally. And of course, I still had the farm on my shoulders. I had to be there every day. Phyllis took over quite a bit. That city girl went on to it. You never believe it. We had about 3,000 chickens and 20 cows or so, and she had to take over the eggs the day we got home. And we built a shelf in the basement under a window, and they had the candle in those days. You had the tin can with a hole in it, and then you do like this to see if there was a blood spot or something, and then boxed them and packaged them in 30 dozen crates, and then we'd cart them to the co-op. Go every other day, I guess. We had enough to go. And so that was our home. And it was a good home. And this city girl was wonderful. She's still wonderful. And
where was the 1,000-bed hospital?
Finch Haven, New Guinea.
Did you spend the rest of the war there? Until VJ Day, did you spend the rest of the war on New Guinea?
Actually, no. No, it was peacetime in VJ.
Well, but before that?
Up until that time, I was on Finch.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And from Finch, I came home.
And you were going to tell me how you got promoted to captain.
Oh. Well, you won't believe it. as you know, we were living very primitively and on bare supplies. And I had lots of alcohol. I could get more. And I had the Navy eating out of my hand as long as I had the alcohol. And I guess that was the key. That I was able to produce everything we needed to run a creditable saving people's lives. And somewhere I got the accommodation. I thought it was on the wall. And that was given to me to give me the promotion.
Okay.
And it says, proving to the world that the right person can do the right thing to move mountains.
That's a great story. Well, I'd like to thank you for your service and thank you for this interview.
So that's okay.